Surprise, surprise, my $100 Facebook Marketplace motor that was a replacement for a motor that I blew up in my 275,000 mile convertible E30 and then swapped everything over to the shell of a coupe E30 and then took it to the track for a couple of years between autocross, being a good driver on the street, and then also doing full HPDE and time trial days on the track. Finally gave out and blew up, so what we're going to do to replace it, instead of buying a known good motors, I'm going to do my best to build my first ever engine. All we're doing today though is we're gathering some parts and we're going to do some painting. So, like previously stated, and if you're new here, the engine that I'm using in my track car, which was the shell of an E30, is actually a replacement motor for a blown motor in my 1988 BMW E30 325i. It's a straight 6 motor with a 2.5 liter stroke and the high revving head up to like, was it 6,700, something like that. It decided to give out on track finally, and I had to get towed off track. But in the end, the bearings were bad, so we're going to build a 2.7 stroker motor, which I wanted to build anyway. So I'm going to get this disassembled down because it is an unknown condition, and then we're going to send it to the machine shop and get that all rebuilt. The top end for this motor, though, is coming from none other than my 1988 BMW 325i. It's been in a few videos on this channel, and it's what got me into these old German cars. I got it kind of super cheap, started autocrossing it almost immediately, and had tons of fun with it, driving it around on the road. And as you can see, I'm not even almost fast back when I was autocrossing it as a convertible. It came with some cheap eBay seats that moved all over the place. The engine was misfiring like crazy, which turned out to be a clogged return line in the gas tank that was going on for several years. There was a bunch of stuff missing from the interior, and it was just a beat up shit box, and I loved it. Amazing car, had some fun with it on the street, kind of long-ish road trips with it, but the motor that was originally in it did blow, and I managed to snap a connecting rod kind of sliding around sideways. So I went on Facebook Marketplace and I got a motor for cheap to replace that one in the convertible, and it was about $100 or $50 or something like that, and we just threw that one in, got it running, and had some more fun with the convertible. But as you've probably noticed from all the clutter in the background of my garage, I don't throw anything out. So the head and the top end that's going on our 2.7 liter Marketplace stroker budget motor thing is, the head is from that original motor that had 275,000 miles on it, but we're also disassembling that and sending that to the machine shop as well. And here we are, we got everything back, and we're going to start prepping the engine block for paint. I saw on YouTube, I believe it was on Uncle Tony's Garage. I'll leave like a link, if I can find that video again, I'll leave a link to that video in the description. But basically he was saying, even after you get your engine back from the machine shop, there's still a lot of oils and chemicals and cleaners and whatever soaked into, especially on the iron block motors like these M20s. So the best thing you can do is take a torch or heat of some sort, and as you can see here, it's like sweating the oil out of the block and then burning it off. And that'll help whatever paint that you're using stick a lot nicer to the motor. In our case, we're kind of using the same stuff we used on the MG floor. We're using that like rustable primer kind of stuff, and then it's basically just brush on paint, and it should be brush on nice and thick, and it should hold for a long time, I'm hoping. So we've got our engine all masked off, and we'll just shake up our can until we're all set to go. And we got the primer on there, so everything's looking nice, even. That should stick. And I'm going to paint the engine block white. One, the race car is white for now. And two, it should make spotting oil leaks a little bit easier, but we'll see. And so I'm going to do my best Bob Ross impression. I'm also terrible with the paintbrush, and so we'll see how this ends up coming out. Also, this was like super cheap. I think the can of paint, both the primer and the white paint, the color paint, I think in total is like $10 or $15 or something like that. And to do the entire like floors on the MG, I barely used any of it, and to do the engine, I used barely any of it. So it's like a dollar or something like that to paint an engine. I used Q-tips to block off a lot of the holes, and like masking tape and earplugs to block off the rest of them. And here we go. Now we got it all painted. We got several coats on there. You can still kind of see the primer showing through in a few spots. I'm not the best painter in the whole wide world, as you can tell by the rest of the stuff I've painted. but it is good enough because most of this can be covered up by other engine parts, and we'll be able to see any leaks. So we'll get this tape peeled off, and then we should be good to go. There we go. We got all the paint off. I'm going to do a nice, beautiful 360 whatever pan around it. The engine stand was in the way, so I couldn't take that paint off the back. But it doesn't look half bad. I'm honestly slightly impressed with myself. So that's the easy part of building an engine, I guess. The hard part is coming up. And we'll probably, I don't know, I'll put the video up next week or the week after, where I get to build my first engine. And hopefully it doesn't explode. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time and keep following along for the journey. Again, I appreciate it.